All right, Jeff again here at 6217 Southeast Mariner Way. My dang tablet just ran out of memory there while I was talking to you. Hopefully I'm not repeating myself too much here, but anyhow, I will notate on the report where these are. My foot counter was able to reset there when I had to reset the camera, so what I'll do here really quick is pull back and zero out.
That's the nature of
This is basically right at the base of the clean out here. All right.
I got it.
Anyway, it's impossible to know what's caused these and whether or not they're going to be progressive, but what I can tell you is the line's been here in the ground a long time and there's no cracking or splitting or anything of the sort going on here. Not that I can see, obviously, anyway. The nodule on the left side's a little funky looking, the shape that is. You might have some rocks or something. Sometimes they'll bury chunked up pieces of concrete around a line, someone being lazy. And it kind of gets sat on the line, but I don't see any obvious drip stains or anything like that where groundwater is intruding the line or anything here. So anyway, what I will do really quick though is locate it just so you know where it's at, but this is something that would be HOA responsibility, and as it sits, you know, you could always send the video to the HOA. Right now it's kind of a nothing burger. There's nothing going on here to even do a repair on, so you could always rescope this. I realistically wouldn't be messing with it even a year from now. It might be something you want to look at every few years to see if any progression's taking place at all. Most likely, you're not going to see any changes. All right, so I'll put a notation on the report. Deforms at top of pipe. The nice thing is if this ever does need fixing, it's in the dirt and grass just before the curb, at only 3 feet deep, and where this is at right now is actually lined up perfectly with all the utilities. If you go stand at that spot there and kind of look up or down the road, you'll see where all the utility boxes are for fiber, you know, internet, stuff like that. I was just going to mention to you the other thing that happens when they come in, they do these directional boring machines where they drill in a conduit so they can feed internet up through the right-of-way. They're going off of typically records from the city of the depths of the sewer lines. That way when they run those drills, they don't accidentally drill a hole right through your pipe. It would not surprise me one bit if what you're looking at there are some conduit that they ran that drill a little too close to the pipe, bumped into it, compressed it. You know, if you were to crack that open right there, it wouldn't surprise me if you were to see a conduit for like an internet pipe, internet conduit or something of that sort. So I've seen a fair amount over my career where they've missed the mark and ran those drills right through the middle of a sewer pipe. It's quite a spectacular thing to see. So my guess is probably related to someone getting their depth off just a little bit when they bored in a utility after the fact. So anyway, we're going to flip the camera around here. We're now going to go backwards underneath the concrete patio. I'm going to have to run some water here to clean the camera up a little bit. And then once we get inside the foundation wall, everything from that point on is exposed piping that the home inspector looks at with his eyes. Actually, I just got word here that this is a slab foundation house, not a crawl space. So we're going to take this even further back in here. Typically the crawl space, the pipe, it's, at least from this era of home, the pipe's exposed and you can just look at it with your eyeballs. You don't need a camera to look for breaks in the line or anything like that. So we're going to run this all the way back in here. As home inspector will not actually be able to see this stuff. Only a camera can. And this should be the end of the line here. What we're going to look at is the bottom of the toilet or the roof vent here in just a second. Yep, that's the vent. So this is where the pipe goes vertical. We're now heading up. If we kept on going there, we would eventually, if the camera could fit through it anyway, we'd pop out on the rooftop through a roof vent. And if you were curious and didn't know that, those little, other than the exhaust vent for your furnace and water heater sometimes, most of the little tiny black pipes you see sticking out of your rooftop are for your plumbing. In case you're wondering what those things are. That old trick you can do where you can stick your straw into a drink and put your thumb over the straw and lift the water. The whole idea is that your thumb is off the straw. You need to have airflow through the pipe in order for water to move. Anytime you flush a toilet, a considerable amount of air actually moves through the pipe at the same time. A little bit of grease buildup in the line. That's kind of that tan brown stuff you see in the pipe. None of that's human waste. About the only thing that ever does get built up in a sewer line, contrary to what you'd think, is cooking oil and grease. Unless your line has a severe problem anyway. So it's good. My camera's busted up a lot of this junk at this point, and that's the dishwasher draining there into our camera. So as it sits, the grease buildup's minimal. It's not at a point where I'd recommend cleaning it, but I am pointing it out for educational purposes. If you put a lot of cooking oil and grease down your kitchen sink drain, it builds up like crazy. Especially if you are someone that does not use really hot water and a lot of soap. It builds up. I've seen homes develop inch-thick grease buildup in less than a year. So it's something that, in fact, after 13 years and 25,000 scopes now, I am more concerned about grease buildup than I am a lot of structural issues. It's often thick grease buildup coupled with improper items and a structural defect that is often the recipe for blockages to occur. So let your pans cool down, wipe them out with a paper towel, pour it into a jar, scrape it off into the trash can after it cools down. You just want to keep it from going down the line. A thin little coating of Pam spray on a frying pan is no big deal. Hot water and soap handles that just fine. The key to helping keep, if you know some amount of it's getting down the line, which I don't beat up anyone for doing, it happens. The key is always use the hottest water you have. Always use soap, and run your hot water for about a minute longer than your last dish was washed. That helps to ensure any grease and oil that did get down the line remains melted and emulsified till at least it gets out to the main lateral, or a good distance away from your home. Once that pipe hits the exterior, it's cold, it's buried underground all the time, and stuff starts cooling down rapidly. So you want to keep that hot water going. Anyway, as it relates here to the line today, we have good flow end to end throughout the entire sewer line. Again, we've got a couple deformations 7 feet out, pipes intact. Flow and functionality is not being affected by that at all. The only scenario where that would contribute to a blockage is if you're flushing something large enough down the line that would already block the sewer line. It would meet more resistance there because there is, somewhat of a nodule at the top of the pipe that might hang on to it better. But as it sits, you would have to abuse the sewer line for that thing to ever come into play. Sewer line is functioning properly at this time.